Ladies and gentlemen, Rex, and this is Animal Secrets Zoos Don't Want You to Know by the channel Casual Geographics. Yeah, I hope this stays PG. Nah, I don't care if it stays PG. But yeah, yeah. First of all, yeah, the Sea World thing, I can remember that dolphins and things and whales were really depressed, and I think they knew that before it became a public, and they didn't care or something like that. So I guess it must be in this one, but I don't know. Casual Geographic is a great channel. I love how he just spews facts and creates jokes based on that. It might seem simple, but it really is not. If you just want to make jokes based on facts, it's really hard to do, but he does that flawlessly. It's fucking awesome. So let's watch it. Remember, if you like my Rickson, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the Rickson. There's a link in the description. Check out the end cards, and yeah, let's watch it.
Animal facts that zookeepers might not want to tell you. Zebras are one of the most responsible for injuries to zookeepers because they're wildly unpredictable and overall assholes. Life can really go from zero to kicked in the chest if you're around one. And the hand-reared ones are the worst because people think they're wild horses when really they're demon donkeys that'll crack your ribs and bite off your hand unprovoked. In a place with lions, bears, and gators, your biggest op could be a pissed off Oreo horse. If you work with foxes, your social life will suffer. Not only do they smell horrible, but the smell of fox pee sticks to hair, clothes, and skin and lasts weeks, no matter how hard or long you scrub. Getting R. Kelly by a fox is a great way to make people avoid you like the real one. Rhinos are the world's biggest and most dangerous puppies. White rhinos will eat out of your hand, and they love being scratched. For a 5,000-pound armored truck with legs, they have the personality of a Labrador. With ducks, you never want.
Okay, you know, playing with rhino, scratching and things. Rhino would not know that, it's fucking heavy, and humans are not. Humans are the squishy toys. What if rhino just playingly like dog lays on top of him? That's it. You would be dead after that. So I always see this, heavy animals and somebody's petting and playing. I'm like, that's fucking dangerous. Even if animal doesn't want to kill you, it could accidentally kill you. It's not something to play around with. And, what is that animal that stings like, really bad? I forgot the name of that black thing. Skunk? I think it's skunk. I think when skunk basically, releases that defensive mechanism that smells basically, that thing, it doesn't matter how much you wash, doesn't just go away. It stays with you for a long time, I guess, if I remember correctly. That's just fucked up. Because, I remember watching it somewhere, like somebody got, that kind of smell on them. Doesn't matter, they took shower for like 10 times or something. And even after a day or two, they were still smelling like hell. I mean, that's just fucked up, man. Doesn't matter what you do, smell doesn't go away.
Want to have more males than females. As a rule, you need 4 to 6 males for every female, because if you don't, the males will get aggressive and jump the female. I couldn't find the TikTok, but basically she was saying a female duck lost her eye because during a particularly violent session, one of the males got impatient and ripped her eyeball out. And since it usually happens in water, multiple males could possibly drown the female. If it is in water, they could break her bones. Animal secrets zookeepers might not want to tell you, part 2. Anteaters are way meaner than they get credit for, and sometimes they'll just snap and take a life for no reason. Like, even jaguars will hesitate to attack them because they're really only one swing away from being a memory. One anteater mauled a zookeeper so badly that she had severe liver, stomach, and lung damage. And she died. You watch your back if you're in his hood. Tortoises are jaw-droppingly stupid. If you leave a bucket around them, they will 100% try to make babies with it, and they'll even give the treatment to an extra curvy boulder. Orangutans are evil pickpocketing geniuses that'll steal items of importance and only return them in exchange for food. Sometimes they'll even break up the object and hand it back piece by piece in order to extort more food, which is unfortunate if they steal your phone, and even worse if they steal an animal like an opossum. It's happened. This isn't a secret, but if you've ever seen a zookeeper...
That is just awesome, isn't it? Monkeys, which is close or relative to us, basically, do shit like that, like, extortion. Like, fuck it works. I mean, I remember, somebody making some kind of experiment where they gave one thing to a monkey and then they gave something, good, like, I don't know, pie or something to other monkey. I guess they gave one monkey an orange and then they gave pie to another monkey. And that monkey just knew that pie thing is just better. And he got angry, like, why does he get a pie and I get orange? And he was trying to grab the pie and shaking the, cage and everything. That's just fucking awesome.
Cleaning an enclosure and you jokingly said something like, I wonder what animal that is, I can guarantee you that day you got silently cursed out in ways you didn't even know possible. Giraffes can seriously mess you up out of nowhere. Males fight for females by necking, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Sometimes they'll take a swing at keepers not paying attention just to be a dick, and if they connect, they will send you flying. The one day they're not nice is the day someone gets put on CNN. Animal facts zookeepers might not want to tell you, part 3. Koalas are teddy bears with the personality of a chainsaw, and if you have to carry an animal out of its enclosure, you'd have an easier time manhandling a crocodile. They claw, they bite, and they are dicks to other animals. Every time a keeper picks one up, their health insurance goes up. Aquariums will have captive breeding programs for dolphins, but since they're difficult to transport for mating, they'll use artificial insemination. meaning someone gets paid to give Flipper a happy ending and collect the baby maker, and the dolphins are so smart they'll recognize whose job it is, and when they see them they'll roll over and present themselves. If you irritate a member of the Camelidae family like llamas, alpacas, vicuñas, and of course camels, they don't just spit on you. Zookeepers just say it's spit so you don't totally freak out. What they actually do is regurgitate the contents of their stomach, mix it with saliva, and launch it in the face of whoever's annoying them. Piss one off and they'll basically projectile vomit half-eaten grass all over you and dare you to do something about it. Out of all the raptors, turkey vultures are one of the most affectionate, and they'll form strong emotional bonds with their keepers. They'll follow their favorite around, greet them when they enter the enclosure, and even play with their socks and shoes. If you ignore the fact that they smell like an open casket in July, they're actually pretty cool. Animal fact zookeepers might not want to tell you.
Open casket in July. That's a joke that you put real thought into it. I mean, open casket is enough. Open casket in July, apparently.
Are the spawn of Satan, and they conduct themselves as such. If you know anyone who's ever worked with meerkats, ask them to show you the scars. I guarantee you they have them. They are, no exaggeration, the most homicidal mammals on the planet that aren't humans. If a zoo announces the death of one of their meerkats and they say it was due to natural causes, it's way more likely that one just straight up murdered another. They're also one of the worst animals for first-time zookeepers, because if nobody warns them, they'll think they're cute and cuddly and try to feed them by hand, and that is exactly how you go to bed with less fingers than you woke up with. Most keepers understand their animals so well that they have no problem being in the same enclosure as tigers, leopards, and bears. But there's one animal that seems to universally scare everyone. Ironically, cassowaries are shy and introverted in nature, but during breeding season, sometimes these hell turkeys decide to catch a body. They are one of the most dangerously unpredictable animals you'll ever be around. Most zoos won't even let
I'm not gonna lie, I think cassowaries is inside the game Far Cry 3, the vast one, right, where Far Cry just took off basically, in that sense. And I'm like, what the fuck, a stupid bird is putting up a fight. Then I'll later on basically search and realize like how dangerous these cassowaries are. So I'm like, look at that, they are not wrong. Apparently it is danger.
Workers inside cassowary exhibits without at least two others keeping watch, and they often go in with an attack shield in case this Satan Tweety gets ideas. Orangutans are smart enough to get people fired. In Omaha Zoo in Nebraska, zookeepers kept forgetting to lock the orangutan exhibit, and when they would get there in the morning, 5 males would be posted outside. The head keeper got on his staff for being careless, but after this happened several more times, he was ready to put someone on unemployment. But it turned out one of the males named Fu Manchu found a piece of wire and hid it between his lips and gums, and when nobody was looking, he used it to pick the lock of his enclosure, and then he proceeded to free all of his friends. It took zookeepers over a week and the threat of being fired to figure it out. Cougars are the biggest pushover of any cat.
Oh man, I'm seriously, I don't know, man. I still can't get past how these basically monkeys are, how smart they are. He hid, wire and shit in his mouth, and then pick locked, lock and get out. I mean, that's just, how can you process that a monkey did that? I don't know, maybe, it's pretty simple and right, and people just understand like, yeah, of course they're monkeys. But to me, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just a bit too advanced than I think of normal animals to be.
They're naturally afraid of people, but when comfortable, they'll seek out head scratches and belly rubs, all while purring. They're basically giant house cats that could turn you into a headline if they wanted to. Secrets zoos might not want you to know. Every zoo has a group of animals that are so dangerous they're kill on sight, meaning if they escape their enclosure or attack somebody, zookeepers are taught to take them out immediately. And surprisingly, a lot of big cats like lions and tigers aren't KOS because they would rather tranquilize and capture them. Even silverbacks are
Yeah, I mean, I think most zoos use tranquilizer. Nobody directly kills anyone nowadays.
First, but there's one animal that's kill on sight in basically every zoo. Chimpanzees, because not only are they homicidal maniacs and incredibly fast and strong, tranquilizers only piss them off. By the time it kicks in, they could have already chewed someone's face off.
Yeah, I think chimpanzees are our closest relative, right? Closest to humans, I think. Yeah.
Escapes, somebody has to die, and it's usually the chimp. Sloths can be incredibly vicious. They look innocent, but those jaws can inflict nasty injuries on animals and people. Tamarin was once harassing a 3-toed sloth, which everyone thought was cute until the sloth clamped its jaws around the monkey's face. By the time keepers broke it up, the monkey had an eyeball hanging out of its socket, and the sloth was covered in blood that wasn't his. Tortoises are dicks for no reason. Sometimes if you go in their enclosure, they'll block off the exit by sitting in front of it. And since the Aldabra tortoise can be 500 pounds of
look at that face. Look at that face. Like, yeah, that's right, but you can't go anywhere.
Stubborn, you're not going anywhere. A lot of zoos have to rent pandas for $1 million a year, and it takes another $500,000 to feed them, which doesn't even include medical and enrichment costs. It can literally single-handedly bankrupt zoos. Might not want to tell you. Part 6. A lot of animals in captivity become
why would zoos not want to tell us that panda fact? Zoos are the one who's getting bankrupt. Who gives a fuck? I mean, I guess zoos that are funded by government, they won't want you to know that, because, oh, isn't that cute for one panda, all that money? Come on.
Much worse parents, because honestly, zoo animals are just worse at being animals. In the wild, a mother may reject her baby due to drought or sickness. Zoo animals can reject them purely off vibes. Zoo animals also respond way worse to stress, and when a military jet flew over a Sweden zoo, the animals got so stressed and so pressed they proceeded to tear apart and eat 23 of their babies. It was not pretty. Zoos don't buy or sell animals.
What the fuck, man? I mean, at one point, I see all these details about animals, like how smart they are. And then the other side, basically jet fighter crosses, and they basically eat their babies. So in one of the videos, he said, what was that, rabbit? I don't even know what that was. Who are so stressed out and so panic and paranoid that they do the same shit. As soon as they get spooked, they basically eat their baby. Was that ducks? I don't know what that was. But they, the mother eats their baby, so the predators don't get them or something like that.
From each other. Instead, they trade like cards. For example, if you think you would like this bighorn puppy, it'd probably cost you about 20 penguins. 2 lion cubs could set you back 1 grand zebra, and if you have more baby giraffes than you can handle, you could trade him in for a Burmese python, a red-tailed hawk, and a miniature pig. Most zoos are strongly against putting price tags on animals because it can encourage poaching. Except these guys. These bastards are too expensive to trade. Animal escapes are pretty rare, but when a major one happens, everyone basically readjusts their fences and enclosures. Kinda like how in class everybody will change their answers if one kid gets it wrong. A lot of zoos had to readjust their tiger enclosure because 3 idiots decided to taunt one, and that tiger proceeded to yeet itself over a wall. Can't blame the tiger though. Sometimes natural selection comes with a free meal. Things zookeepers might not want to tell you. You probably shouldn't work with your favorite animal for the same reason.
I'm not gonna lie, tigers are one of those animals that I don't even know why people try to fuck with it, right? You can just see a tiger from the distance, the rumble it has in its growls, basically. Roars and growls. It's just, why do you even go close to it? Doesn't matter what. It's just frightening, man.
You shouldn't share an apartment with your best friend. After 1 week, it'll change everything you thought you knew about them. You like penguins? They smell like Satan's locker and snap and bite at your shins every time you feed them. You like tigers? Tiger poop is one of the worst smelling things you'll ever live through. You like elephants? Give one an enema and I swear next day you'll be at unemployment. Don't work with your favorite animal, you'll have a new favorite by lunch. Being a zookeeper isn't just playing with animals all day.
Dude, give the warning. That was fucking gross.
Incredibly difficult and ridiculously demanding. They work well over 40 hours a week and often have to sleep at zoos just so they can respond to any emergencies. You go through years of training, applications, and hours of interning, all for a starting salary of about less than $30,000. And when you take that much for that little, you're a different breed. But they're so dedicated to the animals that it's worth it. But if you personally know a zookeeper, tell them you appreciate them. Lord knows they don't hear it enough. Out of all the animals, the most dangerous and the ones zookeepers hate working with the most are the ones outside the cage.
Yeah,
no other animal causes more migraines or higher blood pressure than a hairless primate armed with an iPhone and a sense of entitlement. Most zookeepers agree if you kept the animals and banned the people, zoos would be 10 times more fun, and I don't blame them for thinking that.
Oh god, that is so true. After this Instagram, Facebook shit that happened in past few years, now zoos must be more stressed out because everybody wants to get that best photo selfie with an animal or something, trying to get close for more Instagram likes. Ugh. I don't even know how many people died or got seriously injured because they wanted a selfie with some animal.
You definitely wouldn't know unless you worked at a zoo. Walruses are really talented at baiting. In fact, you could say they're master baits. They do it a lot. You're probably wondering how a walrus does this. Well, there's 2 options. 1, they slap themselves with their flippers, or 2, they're flexible enough to self-service themselves with their mouth. And if you've seen a walrus, you've probably seen one do this. Bonobos will go out of their way to wait until they have a crowd of people around them and then start spontaneously having in front of the audience. They do it on purpose. I don't know why, but literally the more people around, the more likely they are to ruin the innocence of any child watching. Tigers can't purr, so to show affection, they'll do the same slow blink that your cat does to tell you he loves you. Tigers share 95% of their DNA with domestic cats, which makes sense because they're basically house cats on steroids. They'll cuddle up to their favorite keepers, play hide and seek with them, and of course give them that famous
steroids. I mean, they are a whole another league. Even steroids cannot give you this much of edge. Comparing them with the cats is just ridiculous. They are way too big and way too powerful. It's like, if you took steroids, somebody else took steroids, and then somebody else eat both of them. That's what the tiger is.
Tigers are soft. A lot of animals get lonely during the winter because there's less visitors and they're used to seeing people. This usually happens with higher intelligence animals like elephants, primates, and parrots like the African gray. During COVID, one zoo brought painters into the monkey house just so the monkeys would feel less alone. One Japanese zoo asked people to FaceTime the eels just so they wouldn't forget about people. Top 3 dumbest things to ever happen at a zoo, and no, number 1 is not what you think it is. In 2009, a woman decided to take a flash pass to Jesus by jumping into the polar bear exhibit in a Berlin zoo. She proceeded to get mauled by 4 of the biggest carnivores on the planet. At one point, zookeepers were able to pull her out of the pool, but of course she fell right back in. She also did this during the polar bear's feeding time. Apparently she...
What the hell's wrong with you people, man? Polar bear? How do you not know that's dangerous? How do you not know polar bear is dangerous? Every time you go to, Arctic Circle or whatever, right? Arctic Circle or, yeah, whatever. Or Antarctic Circle, doesn't matter. Whenever you go to that poles where, polar bears are, every time you see the blood bag type of thing, like there is a, in the seat of ice, there's some red blood type thing. That's polar bear's work. Polar bear did that shit. Every time there's a horror and lots of blood somewhere, polar bear did that shit. How do you not know polar bears are not dangerous?
She lost her teaching job and was so depressed that she decided to factory reset her life
Polar
in one of
bears
the
are
worst ways
dangerous.
possible. And zookeepers were actually seconds away from shooting the bears just to save her. Luckily, she and the polar bears lived. In 2007 in San Francisco, 3 dumbasses who will not be named decided to taunt Tatiana the Siberian tiger just to see what would happen. What happened was she decided to make the census 3 names lighter. Motivated by malice, Tatiana jumped over a nearly 13-foot wall and violated all 3, murking 1 and severely injuring the other 2. And what's true today was true back then. If you're young and dumb, you will get paid. And after getting sued,
Tiger is the ultimate athlete. I've said that many times. It can jump ridiculously high, obviously. Look at that, nearly 13 feet, right? It's pure muscle. It looks, the lion looks more terrifying and bigger than tiger, but it's not. Tiger has much more muscles. Tiger's claw has much more strength to it, right? Tiger's claw, can even, break some of the walls, right? Some of the average walls that are out there, if the tiger is big enough, like Bengal tiger type of thing, its claw has so much force it can even break the fucking wall. Just imagine what can it do to your torso. You don't fuck with a tiger. I don't understand this.
the zoo had to pay a $900,000 stupid tax to the brothers. Number 1 isn't actually this, because in 2012 a mother lifted her son over a railing to get a better look at the animals. He then dropped the 2-year-old into the African wild dog exhibit. He survived the fall, but not the dogs. And if you know how African wild dogs hunt prey, you know this was very bad. On top of all that, the mother sued the Pittsburgh Zoo for negligence. Yeah. Obviously the victim here is the little boy because nobody deserves that, but yeah, the railing's there for a fucking reason. 3 more of the dumbest things to ever happen at a zoo.
Yeah, African hound. That's African, right? One of the most dangerous type of animal that is. They go hunting groups and they're very vicious.
Number 1 will make you feel some type of way. In 2017, a man decided he didn't want to pay the price of admission to get into a zoo and instead scaled a 10-foot wall to get in. And best believe a price was paid, because my man's ended up in the living room of 3 of the biggest big cats on the planet. The man was brutally mauled in front of horrified guests, and I like to think the last thing that went through his head, other than, the tiger's teeth, was if it was really worth it. You can't put a price on life, but this man gambled his entire way of being over $19. Also, one of the tigers died over his stupidity. At number 2, you probably know exactly
Wait a minute, did he survive or not?
where this is going. Another dumbass who will not be named was a regular at a Netherlands zoo, and she had a habit of smiling at the gorillas and making eye contact, even though trained zookeepers told her not to. She ignored them and said that she had a special bond with the gorillas since they always smiled back. Basically, she pulled a, "Trust me, I know him, he'll listen to me. Remember what we talked about, this isn't you." Yeah, she played pick me with a 400-pound gorilla, and one day Bakito woke up and chose Miralax because he wasn't taking no shit. Bakito escaped, beat the woman like she stole something from him, and then broke into a restaurant. And number 1 in 1987,
When he smiled back, it was one of those psychotic smiles. I'm gonna kill you, bitch. That's what that was. You don't fuck with animals. Why can't people understand? This is the problem with, all the people since the childhood just thinks, oh, isn't that animal cute? Isn't that animal cute? Isn't that tiger cute? Isn't that panda cute? Oh, look at that, it's a teddy bear. That's what happens, right? When you make, these dangerous animals cute by cartoons and shit, by all these toys and shit, and just, implant people's mind like, isn't these animals are cute? That stays with you when you grow up, basically. And doesn't matter what, if you're not thinking strong enough, right? Your mind will be like, oh, that animal is cute. It probably nothing will happen. Those are dangerous things. What's wrong with you, man?
Prospect Park Zoo in Brooklyn, a couple boys decided to climb into an exhibit and swim in a moat. Whose exhibit, you ask? Well, originally they planned on swimming in a sea lion pool, but somewhere along the line they decided they just didn't value their lives. They went into the polar bear den. What happened next was 2 900-pound murder bears proceeded to play tug-of-war with the 11-year-old's body. Police came and shot the bears, but the boy was already past tense. Did I mention this was all because of a dare? It was a tragic, senseless, avoidable death that never should have happened. May those
11-year-old boy. You know what? I'm just gonna say, what are the parents doing? 11-year-old are stupid because they're 11-year-old. There's a reason. They're 11. They're barely teenagers. I mean, 15, 16, I understand, but 11-year-old. By then, their guardian should be the one who should constantly have eye. Look, if I go to a zoo with my kids or something, even if my kid is 11 or even 15, I'm constantly having my eyes on them, right? I mean, I know people say that that's not the right way. Maybe not. But the shit like this would happen if you don't. Zoos are dangerous, man. You must know where your kids are if your kids are 11 or something.
Polar bears rest in peace. As for the boy, he can rest in pieces.
There's more fun to have.
Ah, come on, man. 11-year-old kid died. Don't make joke on that. You can rest in pieces. Come on. I mean, if somebody's an adult and happens, I can understand somebody making joke like he was an idiot or something. 11 years olds don't know much, man. Come on, that's just tragedy. Alright, people, that was Animal Secrets Zoos Don't Want You to Know by the channel Casual Geographics. One of the ones that, zoos basically improvises is the one that I found, really worth knowing, I guess. Like, this is a secret that zoos don't want you to know. Because every time somebody goes into zoos thinking that all the defenses that they are really scientific or something, like they really test it out. These are just impeccable. That's what the people's mentalities are. Well, apparently, they test it out. If one zoos fail, they basically reinforce their walls and shit and just go along with it. It's like a evolution. One day it will be strong enough. Until then, I don't know. The more accidents happen, the more they'll start to bolster up, I guess, every zoos. I didn't know they winged it like that. Alright, if you like my reaction, like, subscribe, check out the Rick Sandy. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast for place. I'll see you next time.